Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I'm getting off here. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you too.
Hello.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Doing well.
Do you need the volume up?
No, I can hear him.
Okay.
Appreciate you calling. Basically, I have this assignment where I have to do a special interest article. It's not picky about what or why, so I thought honestly of you because
Okay.
you're very involved in education. That's something I've always found really interesting, education administration especially. And she's told me about a lot of the other things you've done. So very multi-talented person. So I thought that would make for a good interview.
Okay.
So I just wanted to start out, I guess, with your early life growing up there in Paintsville, what that was like, what kind of things you maybe enjoyed, or maybe early influences, that sort of thing.
Well, like influences for my chosen career, that kind of stuff.
Anything you think was important and it affected your long-term life.
Okay. Well, my mom, of course, she was a big influence on me for a lot of things. I mean, she took me and my brother and sister to church, all the time. Our dad didn't go when I was little, but he made sure we went. We weren't allowed to go hunting or fishing with him.
Yeah.
If it was time for church, that kind of stuff. We had to go with mom, which is good. And my dad didn't come to Christ till later in life.
Okay.
Definitely mom made sure that we knew about God and those kind of things. She was, and my dad both, they were both hard workers, at their jobs. And my mom took care of kids. And so, I don't know, I always enjoyed being around kids. Of course, I was a kid, but that may have been why I went into teaching. I don't know.
Okay. And so obviously you grew up in the church. Faith has always been a big influence for you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I always been in the church and grew up there, and I always felt kind of drawn to those guys, the church, and ever since I was a little boy, I always sit on the front row. My mom and didn't sit there. My sister but I used to go up and sit with the old men on the front row, and then slowly they all died off, and then when Libby and I started dating, the first place we ever went was church. I met her and then invited her and some other friends to church that night, and she had to sit on the front row then, and she's been, about a month or so after that, we started dating, and she's been sitting on the front row with me since then. And so now the pew's full, but I started out with a bunch of old men, and now I sit with a bunch of kids and my wife. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. And so when was that you first started dating Libby?
I was 15.
Okay.
I was a sophomore, and she was a senior in high school.
Okay. Gosh, and you dated her, and then when did you get married?
6 years later.
Okay.
6.5. I was 21 when we got married, so.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 years later.
Did she go to college with you, or?
No. She went to the last 2 years that I was in high school. She went to the community college.
Okay.
And Moorhead.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I graduated, I went to Ohio Valley University, which is in Parkersburg,
okay,
West Virginia, and she went to Moorhead. She was living on campus there, so we were both living on campus, but in different campuses.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
so I stayed at Ohio Valley. It was a junior college when I was there, 2 years, unless you were a Bible major. It's a Christian school.
Right.
But I was an education major, so after 2 years, I moved back home, and I was traveling to Moorhead. I didn't stay in the dorm because I had some classes I could take at the extended campus that was close to home.
Okay.
And Libby was finished up by then and working. And so then we got married December of 94. And then I finished up after that and started working at Paintsville Schools, and I've been there for the last 20 years.
Okay. Well, very cool. And I guess, were you ever a teacher, or have you always been in some
Yes.
sort of... Okay.
Yes. I taught for 10 years. I was a teacher for 10 years
Okay.
in the elementary school.
Okay.
I taught first grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade in the elementary school.
Okay.
I actually taught Dot in fourth grade.
Oh.
I had her in fourth grade. Yep.
Oh, boy.
So I taught for 10 years, and then I became the high school principal in 2006, and I was the high school principal for 1 year.
Okay.
And then in 2007, I became the elementary principal. Did that for 6 years.
Okay.
Or 7. And then last year, I became the innovation coordinator, which is this new job
Okay.
that I do.
Okay.
It's we in Eastern Kentucky, we got the Race to the Top grant, $30 million
Oh, okay.
between 17 school districts.
Okay.
And so what they did, each of those 17 school districts got a new administrator called the innovation coordinator. And what they do is they manage that grant, which funnels a lot of money for technology
Okay.
into the grant. But part of the stipulation was you had to have somebody to manage it, to oversee it, to make sure the teachers and the kids got trained on it and that they were using it. And they wanted somebody that had either instructional supervisor or principal experience, because you're dealing with curriculum and instruction and also budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that job because I've been pushing for one-to-one student
Right.
technology for years, and we couldn't really afford to do it, but this way we could do it. And so I took that job, and it's been good. I love it. It's a fun job.
That's awesome. So, with that innovation coordinator thing, are you really just, does the grant stipulate exactly what you get, or is it more of you get to decide how to use the money they provide kind of
We
thing?
get to decide what
Okay.
it stimulated. It did give us a few things, like we got every school, which we have 2 schools, got a Mondo pad, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's a 70-inch interactive TV screen that has a computer in it.
Wow.
So just think of a 70-inch iPad
Yeah.
that runs the full operating system.
That's
what it
amazing.
does. Yeah, so we have 2 of those.
Okay.
Everybody got one of those. Everybody got one for every school.
Right.
And then what we got was we got money. Everybody got an innovation coordinator salary that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got money for one-to-one devices. Like, we get so much money per student
Okay.
to spend on one-to-one devices.
Right.
And then we also got a lump sum for each school to spend on one-to-one devices. So, but we were the ones to choose the device.
Right.
Because basically the grant has to be device agnostic. They can't really say, well, we really like Apple products
Yeah.
or Google products or
Mhm.
Microsoft products.
That makes sense.
You have to have choices.
Sure.
So they let us decide. And what we're doing, the direction we're going, is we're using Chromebooks
Okay.
because they're cheap and they have free platforms to use.
Oh.
Like, you have to have, if you're going to do a classroom setup, you want to have a learning management system like Blackboard
Yeah.
you might use or something.
Mhm.
Well, Blackboard's very expensive,
Sure.
but Google Classroom is free.
Okay.
And if you have Google Chromebooks, you can do Google Classroom.
That's really cool. Okay.
And so also what we've done, we've been doing this over the last 3 or 4 years when I was principal, and we started only trying to buy software programs that were web-based, not server-based.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
That means you basically just have to have a Wi-Fi connection. Is that what you're saying, or?
yeah, yes. If you can get on the internet, you can do whatever you need to do.
Right.
We quit buying stuff that would bog down our servers or that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So we didn't have to store it. So, so Chromebooks were a great choice because all you need was an internet browser and Wi-Fi, and you could access all that. Plus, you could access Google Classroom, Google Docs, Google Slides, all that stuff for free. So that's what we've been going that way. And so we started out doing our language arts classes at the high school, and in the elementary school we started out with 6th grade. Then we went to 5th grade, and next year we're doing 4th grade, and the high school we're expanding to social studies. So we're doing 1-to-1, but it's going to take us about 4 years to get it done.
Okay, well that's
so
pretty good.
Doing it gradually.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow. Well, I know Audra always talks about how you played a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
And I Googled, we're required to Google you beforehand. I Googled you and saw you were an All-American baseball player. While you were at OVU.
I was an academic All-American.
Oh, okay.
Which meant,
Still
which
counts.
is different. I was an academic All-American.
Okay.
Yeah. So, at college at Ohio Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I played 2 years for them. But really, I was the bullpen catcher.
Okay.
My roommates were two of my roommates were pitchers, and I would catch them in the off season, and I got to play. I was on the team, and had a great time, but I think my batting average was .286.
That's pretty good, I think.
Well, I only batted like 14 times in 2 years, but I was like 4 for 14 or something like that. But I had a great time.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of fun, and I worked hard. I was a hard worker, and that's like I tell my kids all the time. You might not be the most talented player out there, or the fastest, or the strongest, but you can almost always outwork everybody else. And so that's what we try to do. And I think the way you get to be an academic All-American is if you have a certain grade point average, your coach can nominate so many, and I got that. So it didn't really. It was I had really good grades.
Yeah.
And I was on the team.
Hey.
And I played. You had to play a certain amount of innings, I think, or something. So it wasn't any great accomplishment, but it looks good.
It does look good.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard work paid off, at least.
Yeah.
Well, playing all that much or sports for that long, because most people don't play past high school level. What kind of leadership skills, that kind of thing, do you think you learned, or even hard work kind of skills do you think you learned from playing that?
Yeah, working hard, but the biggest thing I learned was that everybody has a job.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Everybody's in. Like, I was basically the bullpen catcher. I was there to warm up the guys, to help the guy get ready, or, to catch the pitcher between innings while the catcher's getting his gear back on.
Yeah.
That was an important part of the team, even though, they didn't need my offense. They didn't need my defense.
Sure.
But I was an encourager to the other guys. And, I did a job that had to be done. It's not a real glorified job, the bullpen catcher, but, every once in a while in a doubleheader, I get to catch the second game.
Yep.
Because the other catchers, our main catcher was a soccer player too, and he broke his leg during soccer season, and so, he would get sore. And so sometimes he'd say, Akshay, you're catching. And they'd let Yoshi, the Japanese catcher, hit, for me, DH for me. But, one of those things I learned was that you don't have to be the star to be important.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good in leadership. And if you're a leader, you've got to treat the MVP on your team as well as the bullpen catcher.
Yeah.
And my coach did that. He was a great guy, good Christian guy. And he treated us all the same, whether, we were the home run hitter, or hitting 400, or the backup bullpen catcher.
Sure.
Just out there because he loves baseball and hanging around with the guys.
Yeah.
So I tried to bring that into whenever I'm a leader, when I was the principal, or, I treat the superintendent and the janitors the same.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can really tell any difference.
Yeah.
And I try to just be the same all the time. And it's easier if you're that way. But I guess learning, you learn different roles,
Yeah.
And then I, after I get out of school, I played old man softball. and then you're one of the better players again for a few years. You know what I mean? You know.
Oh, I know all about the
guy,
age brackets. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's all relative, you know,
Sure.
who you're with, you know. But I guess the biggest thing I learned would be everybody's got a job or a role, and they're all important because if you don't have the bottom, it's going to mess it up. If you don't have the top, everybody's got a job to do, and all those jobs are important.
Okay. Well, that's really cool. Now, another thing that I read about is that you are actually a published author of a few children's books.
Yeah.
What inspired you to decide to do that?
Well, I was, my dad died when I was 24 years old.
Okay.
It was my second year of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in a kindergarten class, and my dad died from lung cancer.
Okay. Because
he had smoked most of his life.
Yeah.
And we were reading a book about the popcorn dragon who blows smoke rings, and I thought to myself, oh, you better be careful, you'll get lung cancer. And so I decided I might try to write a story, so I wrote this story, Where Have All the Dragons Gone?
Okay.
Trying to show kids the dangers of smoking, you know, and use dragons and that kind of stuff, breathing fire. And so that's kind of where I got started with that. And then I wrote a few more books based on that theme. Where Have All the Unicorns Gone? Where Have All the Fairies Gone? Where Have All the Elves Gone? Then I wrote some other stuff. I had a short story published in a collection called, let's see. Have you ever heard of those books, Girls Raised in the South?
Yeah.
Grits?
Yeah.
Well, they did one for men.
Okay.
The author did. And it was, I can't even remember the name of the book now, but it was like, Bless His Heart was the name of the book.
Okay.
It was supposed to be funny stories about Southern men. And so I wrote a short story. Actually, it was a true story about something that happened with my dad and brother and one of his friends when we were fishing. And I wrote that story and got published. And it was a bestseller, which just means it sold 100,000 copies. Now, I only got $25 out of it.
Yeah.
You know, because they bought my story or whatever.
Yeah.
And, 3 copies of the book or something. But, but that was kind of neat to have that many people read your
definitely
story. And it had a bio in there. And, I only sold a few thousand books, probably about 6,000 or 7,000.
Okay.
But that's still more than a lot of people have ever sold. My stories have been told, and I've had a few, 4 or 5 short stories published in magazines. I've had devotionals published, like in devotional books, not books, but like quarterly magazines, those kind of things. You write a little devotional for the day, and I've had a couple of those published.
Okay. Well, that's really cool.
But I haven't really written much in years.
Yeah. And so, did that just was that something you really enjoyed doing once you kind of started doing it? Or did you do it because you really felt like it was more influential?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, at the time, I was teaching 4th grade, and I was in charge of the writing portfolio in Kentucky. Kids had to create 4 different writing pieces.
Okay.
And so I would write with the kids a lot. And so that would help give me ideas and keep me writing. And I really haven't written anything really since, I became principal and got into administration because, I was kind of double dipping a little bit. I was using that time teaching to write with my kids. And then, I try to get some of those works out there for people to read and see and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Great. So you said 6,000 to 7,000 or so, something like that, is what you actually sold?
Yeah, like if you take all 6 books total.
Okay.
Yeah, like all 6 books, yeah. Yeah, I sold a few thousand copies, I guess. Yeah.
And I guess, did you always know you were going to stay in Paintsville, or was that ever in doubt when you went to college or anything like that?
My plan was always to come back to Paintsville.
Okay.
I don't think I ever ruled out not coming. I mean, I guess I would have listened.
Sure.
If I couldn't have gotten a job, but I was fortunate enough, to get a job as soon as I got out of college here at school, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm one of the few people. When I went to college, on day one, actually in high school, I said I want to be an elementary school teacher.
Okay.
So when I went to college, I never changed my major. I didn't, I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, and so I knew that.
Yeah.
And I felt like I'd probably want to be the principal and maybe even the superintendent someday. I guess I would have considered going somewhere else, but I didn't have to.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I would have had to, I was gonna work. No matter what, I was gonna find a job.
Priority one. Yeah.
And, I worked every summer through college at a lawyer's office, and I decided then and there I didn't want to be a lawyer. They worked too hard.
Oh yeah.
And my parents taught me to work, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like it in Paintsville.
Yeah. Sure.
And my family was here. When I got out of college and started working, my mom and dad were alive. My grandparents were alive. Well, everybody I ever loved was alive.
Yeah.
Today it's different. My mom's dead, my dad's dead, my grandparents are all dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have other relationships here, and I've got 20 years in education, and in 7 years I can retire.
Okay.
So when I'm 49 years old, if I want to quit work, I can.
Right.
So I'm not leaving Kentucky probably for at least 7 years.
Okay.
But that's the thing about, and I plan on retiring from Paintsville schools. I hope to, but there are options.
Yeah.
And I thought about, actually, I really liked it at Ohio Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I even got an offer once, an invitation to come and apply when they were adding an education program, to apply to maybe teach with them. But, I had too much invested here already.
Sure.
To move to a different state.
Yeah.
And but that's something I might do someday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I'm always been pretty content to be in Paintsville, and that was always my plan to come back, and it worked out for me.
Okay. And another thing, since you brought up OVU, I noticed you won some sort of award for literature there.
Yeah, I got every year they do an alumni award, like outstanding alumni,
okay,
or Medal of Merit or something.
Okay,
and I got it for literature one year. Yeah.
Now,
so that was nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you get it.
Okay.
I just got a letter and said, "Hey, we're giving you this award."
That's what I was kind of wondering.
I don't know if they have a committee that nominates people. Probably.
Yeah.
And I'm also, speaking of Ohio Valley, I'm also a member of the President's Sweet 16 Council.
Okay.
They have they serve students in 16 different states. And each of those states has a representative on the Sweet 16 Council.
Okay.
And I'm the Kentucky representative. And we meet. Sometimes the president will want to talk to folks about things that are going on, and not very often, but
mm-hmm.
But I'm the Kentucky representative for Ohio Valley.
And what do they usually want to meet about? Is it just about Ohio Valley business, or is it?
Yeah, it's like, sometimes they'll talk about church things, but mainly it's just like, how can we get students from your area to come to our school?
Okay.
Gotcha. Like, what can we do to get more Kentucky students?
Yeah.
What kind of challenges or barriers or things like that, and so I work with them a little bit to try to get them in our schools to talk to our kids,
mm-hmm.
and they offered Dodd a scholarship to go play softball.
Yeah.
And I've helped get a couple other kids some scholarships there. And,
okay.
But they come and talk to us and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So.
And how'd you get involved in that? Was that them reaching out, or?
Yeah, they were looking, and one of the guys in the president's cabinet, I guess you call it,
mm-hmm.
Remembered me because I went to school with his daughter and son-in-law, and he worked there at school when I was there as a student. And when they were saying, "Hey, we need somebody from Kentucky," he said, "I know just the guy." because there weren't a whole lot of students actually from Kentucky when I was there.
Okay.
The year I was there, it was me and a Japanese girl from Kentucky, and she was in Kentucky because of the plant in Georgetown, the Toyota plant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Me and the Japanese girl were the Kentucky representatives at the school that year. So, because it's not a great big school, about 500 kids.
Okay.
Something like that. So.
Gotcha. Now, other than education, or administration specifically, what other kind of jobs do you have around Paintsville? I know you call games sometimes, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I've done that for 15 or 20 years. I do Paintsville sports on the radio.
Okay.
Baseball, basketball, softball, football.
Okay. And do you
for the radio station?
Do you just call games, or do you also have like call-in shows or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes we do some call-in shows. But my buddy John Doug, he's the sports guy and so I'm kind of like his sidekick,
okay.
And so we sometimes we do call-in shows,
okay.
But mostly 95% of what we do are just live games.
Okay.
So usually in the girls' sports,
yeah.
I do the play-by-play.
Okay.
And he does the commentary, and in boys' sports, he does the play-by-play, and I do the commentary.
Okay.
But depending on if one of us has a cold or or voice is shot, we'll switch it up. Or if we do two boys games in a row, like if it's a tournament, we may switch it up, or two girls in a row.
Yeah.
But I'm the voice of the Lady Tigers, and he's the voice of the Tigers. Kind of the way it works.
I love it. Well, I guess what else do you do as far as kind of hobbies? So obviously you have 3 kids, so that's a pretty big hobby. But
yeah, it is. I like to hunt.
Okay.
And fish.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy doing that. Something that I did a lot of with my dad growing up, and I think that's why I really never played football. It's because in the fall, when it was football season, it was also squirrel season and deer season and rabbit season.
Okay.
So that's kind of the sport we played in the fall, and then we did baseball and in the spring and stuff. So,
right.
So we do that. I'm also, this isn't really a hobby, but I'm on the library board of trustees for the county, for the public library.
Okay.
I'm a member. I've been on that. I've done that for a few years.
So that's for the entire county?
Yeah, for Johnson County, the Johnson County Public Library.
Okay.
Yep. I'm actually the treasurer. I sign their checks.
Oh, okay. Now you have 3 kids, and how old are they again? Cal?
16. Abby is 16,
okay.
But she'll be 17 in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then Hope is 14, and Cal is 11.
Okay.
So they're all 3 years apart.
Okay. That was well done.
Yeah, that wasn't us. That was God's time.
Yeah, exactly.
We just benefited from it.
And how have your interests kind of intertwined with them, do you think? How do you think they've carried on that
mantle? They all like to play some kind of sport or another.
Okay.
They enjoy the outdoors. And one thing that I never have done, but they all do, is archery. I'm an outdoorsman, and I've got a bow, but
right.
I didn't get mine until after they got theirs. But I've always been out hunting and fishing and doing those kind of things. But in 4th grade, our school has an archery program, and in 4th grade, the kids go through a archery kind of lesson, and Abby really liked it, and she was good at it. She just naturally was good at it.
Yeah. And
she kept doing it, and so then the other 2 kids are good at it too, and they picked it up, and Abby won the Bluegrass Games 4 or 5 years ago for Kentucky, and got invited to participate in the National State Games of America in Pennsylvania, and so we went, and she won a bronze medal there. And then our other kids won medals at the state level, and they got invited to go to Nebraska. So all of our kids this summer went to Nebraska and shot archery. Abby, she won 3 gold medals. Cal won a silver medal and a bronze medal, and Hope won 3 silver medals. So, that's kind of something that probably came about from us liking to be outdoors and athletics, but it was a sport that I really didn't play.
Yeah.
But it's been really good to my kids. And also, my daughter Hope is a really good soccer player. She's played on traveling team for years and at a very high level. And I never played soccer.
Yeah.
But, and so I guess maybe, they do some of those kind of things, but they're also, they all 3 are, they're very active at church. So I think some of that influence is definitely coming, and they all have an interest in going to a Christian college.
Okay.
So I think that that's some of the stuff that's come from me, and I think they're hard workers. They're not always the most athletic ones on the team,
okay.
except for Hope. She usually is. But the others they're athletic, especially at certain things. But they all 3 are hard workers.
Okay.
And I think they get that from us. Most of their good qualities come from their mom. The best thing I did was I chose a wife really well. So, so they've got a great mom to take care of them.
And so you met her through church, right?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I met her. This is kind of weird at my aunt's house, which is also her aunt's house.
All right.
My mom's sister married her mom's brother.
Okay.
And they had a son. And so Libby and I share a first cousin.
Okay.
And that first cousin's name is Chris. And Chris's dad died when he was 4 months old. He and Libby are the same age. They were born just a few days apart.
Mm-hmm.
And when Libby and Chris were 4 months old, Chris's dad died in a plane crash. And so my aunt, she remarried about 5 or 6 years after that. And her husband had a daughter that was the same age as Libby and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Carolyn, Chris's stepsister,
okay,
she lived with her mom, but she would, of course, how it is with divorced parents. Sometimes they, she stayed the weekends with, Chris and that kind of stuff. And,
sure.
And so Carolyn went to the county school system here,
mm-hmm.
and Chris went to the city school system.
Okay.
And so one day after school, I came home with Chris from school because we were good friends. And even though we were first cousins, we were really, really close friends too. But Libby came home with Carolyn, the other sister.
Yeah.
And so it was Wednesday night, and, we met just by chance because we were all there together. And I said, won't you all go to church with me? And, of course, Chris came a lot of the time anyway with his mom, but we all came. They all went. And so we met, and, and then about a month or so later, Carolyn at church was saying, hey, that girl Libby thought, you were pretty nice. I said, I didn't really have a clue what she was doing, but she was like, no, I think she, and so then we kind of I figured it out. And so then we started dating, and, you know how it is when you're 15.
Yeah.
As much dating as you can do.
Yeah.
But we got to see each other at church a lot, and
okay.
at, ball games and those kind of things. So.
And when do you think you knew that she was going to be your wife?
I don't know. Somewhere along the way you figured it out.
Yeah.
And that's who you wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't ask her. Of course, I was 15, she was 17.
Right.
So, I asked her after I graduated from Ohio Valley.
Okay.
And then we got married about a year and a half later.
Sure. Okay.
But I knew before then that that's what I wanted. But
Yeah.
we, of course, we talked about it and those kind of things. But it really wasn't feasible because we were still dependents.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah. So we, it was something that we really thought would happen, and it did. And we've been very blessed.
Yeah.
We've been married for 21 years now.
Oh wow. Goodness. So you kind of always felt you were pretty equally yoked, as it says in the scriptures. It was never really much of a doubt there.
No, and like, Libby didn't go to church.
Okay.
Before.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she'd go to a Bible school every now and then or something like that, and so she started coming with us, and I actually baptized her.
Wow. Okay.
Just about, about 5 months into our relationship, as we started dating, I baptized her. She at church. They let a 15-year-old kid baptize this girl, and it worked out good.
Yeah, worked out for you. That's great. Oh my goodness. Now, with church, are you involved specifically in any roles there?
Yeah. I was a deacon for a few years, and I'm an elder at our church now.
Okay.
I teach Sunday school classes usually once a quarter.
Okay.
I usually teach from September, October, November. I usually teach that quarter every year. And I take care of our vacation Bible school at church.
Okay. And with Sunday school, is that like a specific age group that you're teaching?
Actually, we do this thing we call the Family Bible Hour.
Okay.
Where we bring everybody, kids, adults, everybody together, and we do a program together.
Wow.
It's a really neat program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard of somebody doing that before. That's pretty cool. Have you done that has your church done that for a long time, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for 20 some years.
Wow.
We've done that, and so a traveling evangelist introduced us to the concept, and we've just we liked it, and we've adapted it and made it our own. But it's basically still what he introduced to us 25, 30 years ago, and so
sure,
it's good though. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Now, do you have any kind of favorite Bible verses or passages that you really feel like have hit you hard?
Well, my favorite Bible verse is Ecclesiastes 3:12.
Okay.
Where it says, "I know there's nothing better for a man than to work hard and do good while he lives."
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I think you ought to be happy and do some good while you're here.
Yep.
And so I try to live that way. But now, like when I was a young man, my favorite verse was 1 Timothy 4:12, I think, where it says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you're young.
Yeah.
But set an example for the believers in faith and life and speech and love and in purity." Because I felt like I became a Christian at age 8, and I started like at our, I fill in every once in a while to preach, but I've been doing that since I was 14, 15 years old, at our church.
Wow.
And so I always felt like, that, and still most of the elders are older.
Yeah.
And, but I feel like I'm pretty mature, and as far as spiritually goes anyway, and have a good understanding of the word. And, my mom taught it to me from a young age, and I really have a good memory. And so most of what I hear, I remember. And so, I remember most of, I'm pretty good at like Bible trivia or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm able to talk to people and hopefully help them at times. So,
Well,
but those are a couple of my favorites. Also, like on my, my job is with children. And so, like, on my email signature at work, I have a quote from King Solomon from Psalm 127. It says, "Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him." So I like that verse, too.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess my favorite one though is that one from Ecclesiastes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
3:12.
Well, I guess other than that, I noticed like you have a work chart for your kids. Are there any other things you feel like you've done that maybe, I don't know, that's something not every family obviously does with their children, at least not that organized. Do you feel like that's what is that arisen from, that kind of thing?
That's all Libby.
Okay.
And that sometimes that works a lot better in the summer than it does during school.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not always up to date.
Okay, fair enough.
And something else we try to do, and sometimes we're better at it than other times, is we have a family Bible that we keep on a table, and we encourage everybody to read from it every day, and we have a journal that we log what we read, and we all try to read from the same Bible. And
that's really helpful.
We don't do as good as we would like. Sometimes we do really well, and sometimes we struggle. So.
Yep.
But ideally, it's a good concept.
Yeah,
we try to do better.
that's always the goal. You're never going to be perfect, but if you set that goal at perfect, then you should get pretty close. Well, I think I covered everything as far as what I knew of going in. Do you feel like there's anything that you're really passionate about that you haven't gotten to, talk about or speak about yet? Or
I think everybody ought to treat people better than they deserve. You just ought to put yourself second. My favorite number is 2, and whenever I get a chance to wear a number, if I get a pick, I wear 2 because I want to remember to put myself second. And treat everybody better than they deserve, because that's what Jesus did for us. Treat us better than we deserve. So I try to be good to everybody, whether they need it or not, whether they deserve it or not. And that doesn't mean, you let people walk on you or whatever. But, and sometimes you have to stand up. That's the way I try to live, is treat everybody better than they deserve, because that's really what I want people to do for me, is treat me better than I deserve. Yeah. And so if I can do that and teach my kids to do that, then that's a good thing. Yep. And you're happier, when you're nice to folks. And I think people should be nice. I like nice people.
Yeah, I agree on that one. That's definitely true.
I like nice people,
Now, do you think once your kids are grown up, is there anything different or something new you'd like to try when you have maybe more time or resources, that kind of thing?
I think I would like to live in the country instead of in the town.
Yeah.
We've got farmland that belongs to the family, and I spend a lot of time out there and hunt, but I would like to live there, I think. But right now it's so convenient to walk 3 minutes and go to work and to practice and
definitely,
all that kind of stuff. So when it's when they're out, and I still want to have a place that's big enough for them to come and bring all the family and bring all the grandkids that'll show up, and all those kind of things, nieces and nephews, but yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to try that, living and out in the country, and working harder to get the deer to come where I want them to, and do a little farming and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I've got a pretty good life as it is.
Yeah.
So, and this is another philosophy, I guess, is, you hear people say, don't you miss your kids when they were babies? And, I just try to love them where they are.
Yeah.
Enjoy them at 16 or 12 or 3, because I remember some of my best times with my dad were when I was an adult, 21, 22, and I look forward to being friends with my kids someday, even though I'm not necessarily that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I enjoy that prospect of that coming, and I just think we ought to just love in the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember where they are and love them where they are and enjoy what's going on. Because, you know, they're only going to be an 8th grader once. They're only going to be a sophomore or a 5th grader or, you know, that kind of stuff. So just try to enjoy what's going on now.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. I like that one. That may actually shape a lot of what I write. It's a very good quote. I've never heard that before. Well, I guess that's about it. Really what I'm going to be doing is trying to shape that into kind of a special interest article about just how to be a family and family man and a man who tries to influence people no matter where you're at and what situation you're in. And then I'm really going to just try to write it that way. And I know that you may not collect them now, but you did used to collect a lot of comics and things like that.
Yeah.
So maybe just tell me a little bit about that collection or any other kind of collections you have.
Well, I love comic books. I've read them for as long as I can remember reading comic books, and I love them. I'm a DC guy.
Okay.
I do have some Marvel, but mostly what I have is DC. And but I got started on Richie Rich, you know, because they were small. My parents got me a subscription to Richie Rich, and I get those in the mail once a month years ago, and then I moved on to superheroes and that kind of stuff, and I have way too many. Actually stopped at a comic book store yesterday, me and the kids. The kids got that from me too. They love superheroes.
Okay.
And that's one of the things I got Cal for Christmas was some superhero books, some comic books, and Hope. She loves to read Star Wars books. When I was a kid, you know, Star Wars was big, and then in the 90s, they came out finally with books that told the story about what happened after, and I devoured all of those, and Hope's the same way. When she got old enough to really read and figured out there were books that happened after this, before episode 7, of course. So she's read every book that I've got, and every book the library's got, and my brother-in-law has. So I have a lot of Star Wars books, a lot of comic books. I even have a lot of baseball cards, not as many of those, but I had quite a few baseball cards back in the day, and I still like to read comic books when I get a chance.
Okay.
And you know, like superhero TV shows and movies, and I found this website called VidAngel where you can edit them and not have any cuss words or any of the bad stuff. And so the kids are watching Ant-Man right now. That's an edited version without the 22 cuss words that it normally has. So, you know, so I guess that's something else the kids got from me was a love of superheroes, and we like it when the good guy wins, you know.
Yeah.
Because we're optimists in this family, you know, and we know eventually that it's going to work out.
Yep.
And that's one of the great things about comic books. It's kind of like real life. Nobody really stays dead, and we know that that's the case with us too. But in comic books, it happens a lot faster. You know,
yes,
those kind of things. But I love comic books and Star Wars, and I'm a nerd, as you say, for that kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's fun, and I'm really enjoying the fact that my oldest daughter Abby, she's got tons of superhero clothes, and you know she does her own kind of thing, and I love that. And she'll wear her, and Hope, like I said, and they're all getting into the comic books and that kind of stuff. So it's something we can share together. And Libby is real tolerant of us, and she's a fan too. So
she's real tolerant. I like that.
Yeah, you know, of us, and you know, it's she likes the movies and TV shows better than the comic books, but every once in a while she'll read one, especially if we say, "Hey, you got to read this." You know? But it's good.
And you try to do the Family Bible Journal. Do you have any other kind of things? At least you try to set aside family time, dedicated family time, or Just kind of try to wing it as best you can with 3 kids.
Yeah, we just, whenever we always, of course, pray together when we eat together,
Mm-hmm.
and we go to church together. We try to take the kids out to eat after church every Sunday.
Okay.
Usually the Mexican place, but
Yep.
like today we went to Wendy's, but that's kind of a tradition we have. We try to at least eat that one meal together as a family every week.
Okay.
And we go on vacation with all my family. Of course, my mom's dead now, but
Yeah.
my mom, my brother, his family, my sister, her family, my aunt, and Chris, the guy whose house we met at, his family, and his mom and dad. We try to do that every year. It's a big family vacation.
Okay.
And, those kind of things. And we're really good as a family about spending holidays together, Easter, Christmas. We try to get everybody together on birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
The extended family.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So.
Now, does everybody still live in the area, like Eastern Kentucky, or is it?
Well, my brother lives in Georgetown,
Okay.
Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes in, for the big things. And then, like, our cousin Chris lives in Louisville.
Okay.
But he comes in usually, like, at Christmas or Easter. And we spend a lot of, when we go to Louisville for a soccer tournament or an archery tournament or basketball, we don't stay in a hotel. We stay with Chris and Amy.
Right.
We stay at their house, those kind of things. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got a lot of stuff going on like that.
That's really cool. Family's really important, but it's not priority for everybody to keep all those family members that close all the time. So that's really great. Well, I guess that's it for now. If I start writing and I have any follow-up questions, I'll let you know, but I think I should be good.
Okay.
And as far as shadowing, I'm supposed to shadow the person, but it doesn't have to be in a work environment. It's just trying to get an idea, and that's what I really had already done. I kind of lucked into that, being around your family during the Super Bowl party. So just kind of see how you and your family interact and all that kind of stuff. That's what inspired me to kind of write this kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'll let you know if I need to do a quick, follow-up kind of thing, and we'll see if we can work out a schedule. But
no problem.
Should be good. Thank you, sir.
Well, I appreciate you humble me, so thank you.
Well, you're a really inspiring person, the way you prioritize your life. That's something I find difficult. That idea of humility around everyone is not the simplest thing in the world. I'm sure it's not simple for you, but not all the time anyways.
No, I've been very blessed, so it makes everything, makes things easier for me.
Yeah.
I've always I've been dealt a good hand, and so it's a little easier. God's been awful good to me.
Yeah. Well,
I had good parents. I got a great wife, and I've got great kids. And of course, I consider Dot one of my kids too.
Yeah.
So, I love her very much, and we've got Sonia.
Okay. Yeah.
Love her too, and
now
take care of her. So
real quick, how did that kind of come about? What can you tell me about Sonia?
Well, she moved here in 6th grade,
Okay.
6th or 7th grade, and became fast friends with Abby. They played a lot of the same sports, and her mom was an Army. She was in the Army, and then she was working in the prison system, so she was jumping around a lot, especially every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And came up during her freshman year that they moved. Her dad's not in the pictures, just her and her mom, and she moved, and so she left and went to Elizabethtown, or Radcliffe actually, and she was in a big high school with 1,400 kids, and she and her mom weren't getting along great, and she wasn't liking the school real great, and she was very involved with stuff here. We got 250 kids. If you want to play softball, guess what? You're on the team.
Yeah.
If you want to play basketball, come on. If you want to be in the band, all right, we'll teach you how to play something. And so she was playing 3 sports here, there. She wasn't, she didn't really know anybody she's a good athlete, but she's not a super athlete. So she didn't make the volleyball team. She didn't make the softball team. I was able to talk to the coach and get her on the JV basketball team before she got there. And so she was good to play that, but she just wasn't as involved, and her and her mom weren't getting along great. Her mom was working an hour away, and was taking 2 or 3 hours, and so Libby and the girls had picked her up once for a soccer tournament and spent the weekend with her, and Libby talked to her mom and said, hey, if you want her out of your hair for a while, we'll take her. And her mom's like, no. Nah. But then a week later, Sonia called and said, my mom said, you guys could have me. And so what we have are educational and medical decision-making rights for a school year. And so at the end of this school year, it'll be up, and hopefully her mom will renew, and we'll have her for her junior and her senior year.
Okay.
So, and we just try to treat her like she's ours. I've been real blessed that everybody else in the family does.
Mm-hmm.
My mom treated her just like one of the other grandkids. My sister treats her just like she's her niece. So does my brother. She's just one of us.
Yeah.
And we love her. And actually, I got Libby a locket for Christmas because she's really the one you should write about. She's the best part of this, is Libby. But got her a locket for Christmas. It had my name on it. It had hearts that went inside of it. On the outside of the locket, it's got her name, and it's got our anniversary date.
Okay.
And it came with 2 hearts. And so I put on one heart Brian, and on the back of the heart Cal. And on the other heart I put Hope and Abby. Well, just by chance they made a mistake and sent a 3rd blank heart. Okay? So Libby took that to the jewelry store, and it had it engraved, Sonia on one side and Audra on the other side.
Oh,
so
wow.
she wears that with the 5 of us on her necklace,
Yeah.
So she with all the kids and me, so she treats Sonia, and loves her very much, and I think Sonia appreciates what all the stuff that Libby does for her, and of course she loves the kids. She and Abby are best friends, and it's good for her, and she had become a Christian before we met her.
Okay.
At her great grandmother's in New York, but she hadn't been to church any with her mom, and now she's active at our church, and so that's good.
Yeah, well, that's great. Okay. Yeah. And I know you've mentioned Audrey. You stepped in, or kind of a long time ago, you stepped in as a father figure role for her. What really led you to decide to do that? Was that really just you saw the need and God put it on your heart, or was it?
Well, it was just easy. Libby was helping Joanna take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I would see her a lot.
Yeah.
And my mom babysat her. So
Okay.
she was at my house every day.
Right.
And I loved her, and she loved me, and we got along great. And she was the most fun person on Libby's side of the family. So she and I would hang out, and we just clicked, and she needed a man in her life,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked little kids, and especially her, and so I just took to her, and she took to me, and it's just we've always been that way.
Okay.
So, and I love her like she's mine.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Okay, well, I think I have enough, at least for now, and I really appreciate it. And if I ever do get another assignment, I'll let Libby know, and I'll contact her and write about her.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks again, and I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, you
All
too.
right. Bye.
All right.